Welcome to the 25th meeting. Welcome to the 25th meeting in 2025 of the Delegated Powers and Law Reform Committee. I'd like to remind everyone to please switch off or put to silent their mobile phones and other electronic devices. We have received apologies from Jeremy Balfour, MSP. The first item of business is to decide whether to take items 6 and 7 in private. Is the committee content to take these items in private?
Yes.
Yeah. And we move to agenda item number 2, and we're considering instruments subject to the affirmative procedure. And I believe Katie Clark wants to come in.
Thank you very much, Convener. And I'd like to make a declaration of interest in that I'm a member of the House of Lords on leave of absence.
Okay, thank you. Issues have been raised on 2 of the instruments. First is the draft Scottish Parliament Elections, etc. Miscellaneous Amendments Order 2025. This draft instrument would update the rules governing the conduct of Scottish Parliament elections ahead of next year's parliamentary election. The present draft instrument was relayed by the Scottish Government on the 28th of August. The previous version, which was laid on the 23rd of June, was withdrawn on the 26th of August. Correspondence between the committee and the Scottish Government on the original draft instrument, the Government's letter withdrawing the draft, and further correspondence on the present draft instrument has been published alongside the papers for today's meeting online. As noted in that correspondence, the original version of the draft instrument was withdrawn in order to address an issue with Article 9, which is changing the date on which a person becomes a candidate, which was raised by the committee with the Scottish Government. In relation to the original draft instrument, the committee asked 4 questions. Does the committee wish to draw this correspondence to the attention of the lead committee, as the answers to questions 1 and 2 provide additional information and explanation that may be of interest for the consideration of Articles 14 and 15A?
Yes.
Finally, in relation to new provision in Article 16.2 of the relayed draft instrument, the committee asked about the use of the words "where it first appears." The Scottish Government agreed this was superfluous, but considered that the provision is sufficiently clear so as not to need any corrective action. The committee agrees that this error is unlikely to affect the operation of the legislation, and the committee may have been content not to report this matter if it had appeared in a less significant context. However, the committee considers it desirable to ensure the greatest possible clarity in relation to changes to the wording of electoral forms, given their importance to individuals' exercise of their democratic right to vote. As such, does the committee wish to draw this instrument to the attention of the Parliament on the general reporting ground in respect of superfluous references to where it first appears in the amendments made by Article 16.2a, d and e of the draft instrument to the Getting Help section of postal voting statement forms K, T and U respectively?
Yes.
And secondly, an issue has been raised on the draft of the Scottish Parliament disqualification of members of the House of Commons Regulations 2025. The purpose of this draft instrument is to disqualify a person from being an MSP if they are also a member of the House of Commons, and it does so by making amendments to the Scotland Act 1998. This is one of a package of 3 draft disqualification instruments. The other 2 instruments would disqualify a person from being an MSP if they are also a member of the House of Lords or a councillor. The committee asked the Scottish Government about the wording of new subsection 2A, which is intended to prevent an MSP who is also an MP from receiving an MSP salary. This subsection would be inserted by the instrument into section 82 of the Scotland Act. The committee asked whether it is sufficiently accurate, given the contrast with the wording of section 81(1) of the Act. The Scottish Government responded that it does consider the wording to be sufficiently accurate and does not intend to take any corrective action. The committee considers that the provision should achieve the desired effect because it specifies in accordance with section 81(1). However, given that this is an amendment to a constitutional act, it is desirable for it to be accurate and consistent as possible with other provisions of the Act. As such, does the committee wish to draw the draft instrument the draft instrument to the attention of the Parliament on the general reporting ground in respect that the wording of the new subsection 2A to be inserted by Regulation 5C of the draft instrument into Section 82 of the Scotland Act 1998 could be more consistent with the provision in Sections 81 and 82 of the Act.
Yes.
No points have been raised on the draft Scottish Parliament disqualification of members of the House of Lords Regulations 2025 and the draft Scottish Parliament disqualification of Councillors Regulations 2025 and the draft Free-Range Poultry Meat Marketing Standards Amendment Scotland Regulations 2025. Is the committee content with these instruments?
Yes.
And our agenda item number 3, considering an instrument subject to the negative procedure. No points have been raised on SSI 2025-244. Is the committee content with this instrument?
Yes.
And our agenda item number 4, we're considering an instrument not subject to any parliamentary procedure. No points have been raised on SSI 2025-243. Is the committee content with this instrument?
Yes.
Under agenda item number 5, we are considering proposed draft regulations laid for consultation. No points have been raised on the proposed draft regulations, the Hate, Crime and Public Order Scotland Act 2021, characteristic of sex amendment regulations 2026. Is the committee content with this item?
Yes.
That now concludes the public part of the meeting, and I'll move the committee into private.